Welcome to my apartment in Toronto downtown. I live in what is considered a tiny one-bedroom apartment. It's 525 square feet on the 45th floor in the heart of the city. And so some people would consider it fancy living, except for the size of the apartment, of course. But as we go along the video, you'll see that there are pros and cons of living in this area. If you're new to the channel, my name is Sharmeen, and on this channel, we talk about logical thinking behind money decisions. For that reason, along with the tour, I'm going to talk about a bunch of considerations I had before moving here and things that you might want to consider if you are thinking of moving to downtown Toronto. For the purpose of the tour, I've divided my apartment into 5 sections, starting with the entrance. My brother is the cameraman today, so we're gonna see how he does. And let's now move to the entrance. Okay. So as you can see, this is a long, narrow alleyway, and initially I wasn't a fan of this, but now I'm used to it. The one really good thing about this apartment is that there are lights installed in the building. Now, depending on where you're watching from, you might find it weird that I even mentioned this, but not a lot of apartments come with installed lighting, so this is a perk of this apartment. A better thing here is that there are 2 switches that control this one light. So there is one switch right here, and then I can grab my keys, wear my shoes, ready to leave, and turn the light off from here. So this I really, really love, and it's so helpful. I can't imagine life without it now. But this is one really good thing about this entrance. Walking in, there's a little nook right here. And I got this cabinet from IKEA, which I really like because it fit perfectly in this little nook. I use this area as the background to my YouTube videos, and I wanted a nice cabinet for the background, but funny enough, it never really shows in my videos. This painting was given to me by my mom because I love horses. They're my favorite animal. So I keep this here to look at it and just feel good. One thing I want to note is that my apartment is a 1-bedroom apartment, but there are lots of apartments that are 1 plus den, so 1 bedroom plus den. Now, you might think that a den is an actual room without a door, but that's not always the case. In some apartments, a den would just be an extension of this area. So there would be a wall, a section, and then another wall, and they would call it a den. So you wouldn't even be able to fit a bed in there. Now, that might feel weird, but that does happen in a lot of apartments in downtown. So if you are considering places with 1 plus den, make sure that you either ask for a video or you go and check out that apartment yourself, because they could be charging you the price of a den large enough for a bed, a closet, and a desk, but that might not always be the case. Next is my coat closet. It's not very tidy, and it's full of jackets because I live in Canada and you need multiple jackets depending on the weather. For example, today the weather is dark and gloomy, and you'll see it when I show you the view. But I have a winter jacket. This is what my winter jacket did to one of my hangers. The enclosed spaces are not very tidy, but that's okay. So this is the coat closet. And next, I want to show you my thermostat. This is the Ecobee thermostat. And initially, I didn't think how beneficial a thermostat that connects to your phone would be, not just because of convenience, but also because of hydro bills. Canada can be very cold in the winters and very, very hot in the summers. So you always need a heater, but also air conditioning. When you're out, you obviously don't want the heater or the air conditioning to be running the whole time because it doesn't save energy and your hydro bills go up. So whenever I'm coming back to my apartment, I go on the Ecobee app and I can just turn on heat, adjust the temperature, and you'll see that the temperature has been adjusted right here. This is really helpful because I can come back to a warm, cozy apartment without paying a lot in hydro because the heater has been on the whole time. So right now, I don't really need the heater, so I'm just going to turn this off. I've also connected this to Google Home. So that is very convenient. If I'm in my bedroom and I don't have my phone on me, which happens quite a bit, I can still adjust the temperature. The next section is the bathroom. Now, my bathroom is very tiny, but it's perfect for 1 person. There are 2 lights. You can come in. There are 2 lights installed in the bathroom, which is also very convenient. And it has 2 large drawers. Now, I've seen other layouts in the building, and they also come with shelves. I wish I had that, but I think that's only for studio apartments because their storage is less. So this is my bathroom. I also have a bathtub, which is very nice. Not all apartments in downtown have bathtubs. They would just have a small shower area, and sometimes you can't even fit in that shower area. So it's nice to have a tub. I also hung this hook right here for my towel because I didn't want there to be too much space. That's the bathroom, and we're gonna go into the next section now. The next is the laundry section. And initially, I didn't think of keeping this completely separate, just including it in the bathroom area. But I've recently started viewing apartments in Toronto because I will be moving soon. And not all appliances are big as the ones in this apartment. The washer and dryer are obviously separate. I know that in some parts of the world that is not the case, but in Canada, US, that's very common. The washer and dryer are big enough that I can do laundry in just one go and I don't have to run multiple cycles. Right now, obviously, it's full because my brother is visiting and he likes doing laundry here because he doesn't have laundry in his apartment in Waterloo. That's not the case, but he likes free laundry. Anyways, I digress. But the machines are really big. In some apartments, they're so tiny that you can just fit one bed sheet at a time. The more rounds of laundry you do, the more your hydro bill will be. So this also saves a lot of money. Then I have my Swiffer cloths there. I use this to mop my apartment, which is very convenient. And I have my laundry detergent. So this section is the laundry section. Right across from the laundry is the kitchen section. Now this is an upgrade for me because in Waterloo I had a very small area and I could barely fit anything, so this is an upgrade. You'll notice that I don't have a lot of things in my apartment. I like keeping it functional, but I haven't bought a lot of things because I always knew that I was going to move out of this apartment. The reason is that this building was built after 2018, which means that this building is not rent controlled. In Ontario, there are two kinds of buildings, ones which were built before 2018 and ones after. Buildings built before 2018 may not be as fancy, may not be as new, but they will be bigger and they will be rent controlled. So every year, your rent would only increase by 2.5 to 3%. Landlords are not allowed to increase it by more than that. But this building does not have that restriction. Rents can go up 5 to 10% and you literally can't do anything. So that is one of the downsides and one of the major reasons that I will be moving out of this apartment, even though I love it. But coming back to the kitchen, the appliances are full sized. So I have a big enough microwave. I have a full-sized oven, a full-sized dishwasher, a bunch of storage options. But the problem is that this apartment is not built for short people. I unfortunately cannot reach the top of the shelves. And again, like I said, enclosed spaces are not very tidy. But jumping really helps. I can jump to get to the very top of the shelf. Or I have Mr. Stool right here. This is my stepping stool and I use it every day because like I mentioned, I can't really reach, but now I'm tall enough. So this is the kitchen area. Oh. Now moving into my favorite room of the apartment, which is funny because there is only one room, but this is the room that you can be horizontal, which is my bedroom. The view is pretty sick. I love it. I can see the water, Rogers Centre. In the evening, it's very nice. Initially, my setup was different. My bed was on the other side and I didn't have a desk here. My mirror was on the other side, but then I changed the layout a little bit. I hung this whiteboard. I love this whiteboard because I can brainstorm different video ideas, different courses. So I used this whiteboard to, brainstorm my Excel course. Now I'm building the Power BI course because the Excel course worked out. If you're interested, I'll include the link in the description box below. It's going to be published on Skillshare by the end of the month. So I wanted to keep my whiteboard here. So I moved my bed on the other side. So yeah, this is my bedroom. It's a little tiny and I had to downgrade from a queen bed to a double bed, but that's okay. It fits me. The last section coming out of the bedroom is the living room. The layout of this living room wasn't the greatest. The view is on this side. I wanted my couch to face it. For that reason, I had to buy a smaller couch because this section is a little tiny. My desk is on this side. For my YouTube videos, I use this area to film them. I move the desk in the middle. The setup is there. There's less barrier to making videos. So this is my living room for just relaxing, working, and also filming my videos. Now that you've seen my apartment, let's talk about some of the items that everyone is interested in. The first one being rent, of course. I pay a net effective rent of $2,300 a month, which means that over the life of the lease, which is 18 months for the one that I've signed, I would have paid $2,300 a month, but the amount on my lease is $2,625. which is on the higher end, not for the area that I live in, but generally for a 1 bedroom, it is on the higher end. $2,300 is pretty standard in Toronto downtown. I've talked a little bit about my rent and other necessary items in another video, which I'll link somewhere up there. Utilities cost in this building is pretty standard. It's about $50 to $70 a month, which is not that bad. It's also because this is a newer building, so everything here is new. One thing to note is the difference between a completely new building and a building that has finished construction a few years ago. A completely new building is one that is still under construction but is renting out to tenants. The reason they can do that is because they've passed all building codes, all health and safety codes, whatever you need to allow to rent to tenants. They've passed all of that, but the building is still under construction in the sense that they might be adding new floors. There might be elevators that are functional but not fully completed. You can rent for slightly cheaper in these buildings, but there are a few issues that come with it. Fire alarms can go off a lot. There might be flooding in some buildings. It really depends on the builder. Some of the buildings that are still under construction and are considered new are actually really good. And you can get a really good price for a 1 bedroom or a 1+ den or a 2 bedroom apartment. But then after construction is done and after your lease is over, they are allowed to bump up the rent to however much they want just because they're built after 2018. Something that I mentioned earlier in the video. The last thing I want to talk about is the difference between property managed and landlord owned buildings. The difference is quite obvious. One is completely managed by a property management company and the other is owned by individual landlords. The building that I'm currently in is property managed, which I really like. For landlord owned buildings, even though the landlord is responsible for maintenance and for making sure nothing breaks. So if, for example, your oven is not working, the landlord is responsible for coming in and fixing that. However, I've noticed personally that in property managed buildings, that is done pretty quickly compared to landlord owned, depending on who your landlord is and how they're managing their property. So that is one difference. The second difference is the approval process of your lease. If you have a stable job and you can show stable income, it's pretty easy to get approved for an apartment in a property managed building. In a landlord owned building, it's a more rigorous process. They ask for a lot of documents, especially in the market right now. They'll ask you for your credit score. They'll ask you for your income statements. They might ask you for HR contacts. They might even contact your company to make sure you're working there, which kind of makes sense, but some landlords can be too extra about it, which can be very annoying. Unfortunately, in Toronto, in this market, landlords will almost always ask for credit scores. And so you need to understand how credit scores work. If you're interested in learning about that, you can watch my video right here. So this was my apartment. It's pretty simple, but it's functional. Thank you so much for spending your time with me, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.